Welcome to Business Without Barriers, the show bringing you strategies to turn barriers into success breakthroughs and thrive in a volatile world. The show bringing humanity back to business. I'm your host, Carmen Wild, and my guest today is Jamie Broderick from the Greater Philadelphia region. Jamie is a success coach who helps entrepreneurs go from being a best-kept secret to amplifying their visibility, audience, client attraction capability, and goal achievement, all while reducing their overwhelm. She combines her passion for spotlighting small business owners with her corporate accounting and finance background, and through her above-the-crowd business mastermind and intensive programs, she helps entrepreneurs build and run their businesses. She's helped over 1,000 businesses build their platform as respected leaders in their industries. She's been featured in Forbes and Entrepreneur and dozens of podcasts, virtual summits, regional TV and radio shows, and filmed a documentary called Breaking Through. Her passion to help others succeed and her vibrant energy are infectious, and we get to experience her magic today. A hearty welcome to the show, Jamie.
Hey, Carmen. Thanks for having me as a guest today. I'm thrilled. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely. Fun it's going to be. So, what's the name of your pet rabbit? I'm curious.
Piper. We named her after the character on Orange is the New Black.
Oh, fabulous.
She is in jail. She's sitting in a cage.
Oh, must be quite fun having rabbits, cats and dogs running around the house.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a zoo. Teenagers and animals, keeping you on your toes.
No harm in having a zoo around, keeps it fun. So, Jamie, you became well known for your parties. Is that where your networking skill all started?
Yes. I started diving into the entrepreneurial space by holding trunk shows. So we'd have over 100 guests in my home. We'd empty all the furniture out except for the tables, bring in a bunch of vendors, like 22 vendors and dozens of guests, and have somebody selling raffle tickets for a local charity and have a cosmopolitan fountain. And it would be a sales and party night. It was a fun way to get started. Businesses grow in the local area. And after 3 years of doing this every couple of months, I looked at my list and there were over 1,100 people who had been through my house.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, it's time to do something serious with this. So I turned it into a local networking organization called Network Now. And that went on for 9 years and grew and has impacted so many people. There are still a lot of great relationships and businesses that are a result of that group.
What a really different way to start business. Trunk parties. Why not?
Well,
funny.
I've always been a lover of parties, especially ones with good themes. I always have to have a theme, Carmen. So you just give me an idea and I'll build on it.
And now they have to be digital. So I'm curious to hear how you're pivoting. So maybe tell me, how are you pivoting now?
Well, I've been online actually for 4 years. So even before COVID, other than my twice annual retreats and my once annual either anniversary party for my business or a conference, everything was virtual.
Okay. So
this isn't really that different other than not flying to Florida or driving to New York for my retreats.
Yes.
So yeah, I love to build community and I can do that online. I switched to digital years ago because I wanted to help people outside of my local area. Mm-hmm. So I have clients, as you know, you were one of my clients back in the day, one of my international clients. But typically I work with people in the United States, but from coast to coast. It's great.
And have you thrown any parties yet digitally?
Oh, well, none of my meetings are too boring. We try to keep it fun, super impactful, very productive, on point and focused, but we keep it fun. So there's always a good laugh somewhere along the line.
A typical Jamie style, fabulous. So to maybe more of a serious note, as a kid, you hid in silence, quite the opposite to who you are today and who we're experiencing right now. How did that shape your passion to amplify voices around you?
Yeah, my life was quite a pendulum swing. When I was young, there was a lot of dysfunction in my house, like plates flying across the kitchen table, or, a hole in the wall, a broken rib for my mom. Like it was out of control. So I hid in silence, literally didn't speak through the latter years of elementary school. And then the pendulum swung the complete opposite way once my father moved out of the house, and I was like, give me a dare and it will be mine. Like, I was a little out of hand. But now I've settled in the middle, and I'm using my passion, my energy, my talents to help other women use their voice and step fully into their potential, because hiding and shrinking and not having a voice is just such a waste.
And what an incredible swinging of the pendulum, as you say, to move from that extreme to throwing parties and then finding the middle way to bring or amplify women's voices. Do you mostly work with women, or is it what comes your way?
I market to women, but I do work with some cool men as well.
Good.
I think the ideal client needs to be coachable.
Yeah.
So that they, if you're not willing to be coached and try things and have an open mind and trust that you're being guided, then it's just never going to work. So I think that's more important, is the being coachable piece. Being like, one of my staff members interviewed with me at Nabisco. Her name's Stacy. I'm still connected with her. And she said to me in the interview, think of me as like a lump of clay that you can mold into whatever you see in me. And I was like, you're hired. Like, I literally hired her on the spot, because that's exactly it. Everyone has so much potential, more than you can even see.
Yes, exactly. So, you've spoken about potential. Where I read where you said, if we're not sharing our potential, we're actually robbing the world. Strong words, but so true. Why do you think it's so hard for people who have massive potential, where it's obvious to us looking from the outside in? Why is it so hard for people to see and own their potential? What do you think's stopping them?
I think some people have a vision and a hope for what they want to do with themselves or their business, but they don't have a true belief in it. So if they don't have the confidence and mindset, fear holds you back. So inside my programs, it's always the first thing we work on is confidence, mindset, so you can step fully into your leadership. When I say that platform is waiting for you. You just need to step up on it with both feet, jump in the pool with both feet, and trust in yourself that you can do this. Just may need support or guidance or perspective from other people. So doing it alone is hard, but I can see potential in people before they do sometimes. And then they'll start to see it, but then the next step is for them to fully believe in it. And then we can achieve it. Without that belief, it's not going to go.
So help us understand, so that maybe people can start doing it for themselves. How do you help them? So what's the first step in helping them first see their potential and then believing it? Because the belief is the big thing. So how do you help?
Well, it starts with looking at that big vision of what they would love to happen. And then it's about reverse engineering it into milestones, goals and milestones, and helping them take steps. And that first action step, no matter how small it is, will move them closer. It's these tiny baby steps that give you confidence, because you learn as you execute. And people notice, and people are cheering you on and supporting you. And yes, you may take an action step and realize I'm slightly off course, or I'm headed to the wrong target, but that's where you assess and pivot. So there's always pausing, assessing, pivoting, moving forward. But you can't sit and hope and plan and try and maybe one day, because then nothing's going to happen. It's just such a waste. The world needs your talents. They need to hear your message. There's so much impact that you can make up for people. Just share it with us.
And it's so powerful what you're putting out there. It's you robbing others of your potential, or rob. And when you see it that way, it just kind of flips the perspective on it. Because I mean, none of us think of robbing anybody else of something. So why should we rob ourselves and others then of that? So You may see your potential. You may even start believing in it, but there's this confidence thing that could still stand in the way. And you've got to break through those fears. Are there certain things, maybe a practical tip you can share where people can start breaking through those fears?
Well, one of the exercises I have my clients do in the intensive is an exercise where they write down 25 accomplishments that they're proud of, that they want to celebrate. Because when you start recognizing what you've already done, you see all the strengths and goodness and greatness that you have, and you can build on that. So that's one way. I think it's important to surround yourself with other people who are successful, because they will see you through their eyes. They'll give you a new perspective and show you their vision for you as well. So you kind of takes your blinders off and expands what's possible.
And is that the reason you do a lot of group work, to facilitate that?
Yeah, it adds a whole nother layer of power to have the community, because it's not just me coaching and cheering. You also have everyone else's perspectives on and giving you ideas and support, and just another sounding board to bounce ideas off of.
And to see that other people are also fearful. And also
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, you're not the only one. And a lot of the time in groups I run, I think that some of the lights that go on is, hell, my problems are okay to have. I'm not.
Oh yeah. We have a meeting actually later this week where we are going to be sharing fears, and I'm sure the things that are going to come up are fear of judgment when I put myself out there online, comparison issues where they're comparing, I should be further along, fear of making an offer, fear of inviting people to a sales call, fear of having a sales call, fear of even creating an offer or pricing yourself appropriately. There's so many different things. So this first step, of course, like anything you're trying to overcome, is becoming aware. When I had my retreats in Florida, we would get super clear on the fears that people had, whether it was around money or anything else that was holding people back. And we would write them on these giant seashells. And then later that night, we would all meet at the beach in the dark and read our seashells again and see all these fears. And we'd make a commitment to release them, and we'd throw them into the ocean, and they would just wash away. We were letting these fears go. It was so powerful. And we used washable markers so that these shells didn't wash up on shore with all these problems and beliefs and fears. People be like, what? This person needs help. Yeah. And the other retreat I did was in New York State, where we would literally climb trees and go down zip lines and hang from trapezes, because it's so exhilarating to challenge yourself physically, because you need every cell of your body and your mind to get through these obstacle courses up in the trees. And after you come down that final zip line or hang upside down on that trapeze, you feel like you can conquer the world. If you can do that, you can do anything. It was an incredible experience. I did that with my daughter, and I was literally still attached to the zip line. And I said, I need to share this with people. I'm creating a retreat around this. And it was like, by the end of the day, I had my keynote speaker and my location. It was like, and we filmed a documentary about it, so that people can find that on YouTube.
Lovely documentary, and the outcomes of each individual, so amazing. So yeah, well done on following through and creating something so powerful.
Well, thank you. It was super fun.
And beautiful to make a documentary of it. It makes it so real. It brings it to life.
Yeah, check that off on my list.
Yeah, you must have had fun. You've got your own little movie out there.
Yeah, it's funny, when you're on a live mic all day, you behave a lot better.
Is that the secret, and why the whole world has gone digital, so that we can behave better?
Yeah, think about it. When you're driving in the car, you're anonymous, right? So all that road rage.
Another upside to going digital. You say that you got to be in it to win it. So when you say in it, tell us a little bit more about what is it that we need to be in to win it from an entrepreneurial perspective.
I would say it's about making that commitment and that decision to take action, invest in yourself, and work towards your vision. Not putting everyone else first, not saying I'm going to try and I'm going to hope, no excuses, being in the driver's seat and driving the car where you want it to go.
Yeah.
So many of my clients keep sliding over into the passenger seat and I gently move them back to the driver's seat. Like, you are running the show. This is how it works.
It's easy to slip into that passenger seat when the confidence wanes again. So, and that's what's amazing about having a mentor, is to keep bringing people back. They're blessed to have you, Jamie. So today our world is very different even to 6 months ago. What do you believe entrepreneurs need to do today to win? Because it's a little different maybe to what we would have defined a little while ago.
I believe that you need to be creative and of course pivot, as everyone's saying, pivot, and not sit and hope that everything's going to go back and wait or behave like a victim. Look at it more as an opportunity to tap even deeper into what's possible for you. Just find a way to be creative and turn it into something might even be better. I was having a conversation via text with Derek Halpern. Do you remember him from Social Triggers? We were going back and forth, and he was talking about friends in New York whose businesses were done or whose income had ended. So one was a bartender, and he was saying, well, he's out of a job, that he does not know what to do with himself. And I was like, oh my God, there's so many things we could do. We could create a series where we can like build him up as this like cocktail guy and create this personal brand. And he could do this like digital thing where he teaches us all these cool cocktails, because, especially at the beginning of COVID, everyone needed a cocktail, right? So, and then another one had a bakery. That was a high-end bakery whose rent was really high and her doors were shuttered. And I was like, well, what about shipping nationwide, or getting into bigger chains, or, doing home delivery, or like, and his point is that a lot of people can't see past what they were. They are this, and that's it. It's very hard to accept that it doesn't exist anymore, and try to see what else is possible and look at it with a positive spin. Like, well, what now could I create? So I was supposed to be co-producing an event on off Broadway when the theaters got closed, and we pivoted, turned it into a movie and streamed it live with 8 days notice. And it went to 16 countries. So it's possible. It's super stressful, but it's doable, especially with a short time period like that. But it's a waste to not push yourself to something bigger, challenge yourself and become something even better.
And there's always a way. So I was talking to another guest, was sharing a story about Uber. And he was talking to one of the MDs in a particular country and saying, but I don't understand it. The way you do business is completely different, but your revenues aren't reflecting that. How have you done that? He says, well, we've just changed the way we do business. Instead of taking people to the shops, we bring in the shops to our clients. And so there's always a different way, but like what you've said, so powerful, they can't see past what they were. So it's to see what you can be. And that is the creativity, where community comes in as a mentor as well, to help you snap yourself out of that thinking.
Yeah, especially with people who have reinvented themselves. So for 20 something years, I was in the auditing, accounting, corporate finance, tax world. And then I took my love of parties and jumped into the entrepreneurial space, and then decided I'm going to start a networking organization. So I researched for a weekend. I holed up in my office, researched all local and online networking organizations, what they were doing well, what they weren't doing well, and created my own. And some of their initial members were in it for the entire time. And they didn't know exactly what I was putting together, but they were like, we're with you, whatever it is. And it turned out to be this incredible organization. But then it went from that network now turns into an online network called the Success Connection. Then I started doing retreats, did a TEDx in New York, did the documentary, did a local book launch for an author who I had never done a book launch before. What the heck did I know? But he asked me to do it. He said, I'd like you to do my local book launch so I can try out my speech. I was like, okay. And then I'm like, what the heck? Figure it out. So much fun. Push yourself and challenge yourself and trust. I think the biggest thing is trusting that you're going to be able to figure it out, and you're going and find the resources and find the people you need and be able to take those steps to get the job done.
You always figure it out. Yes, it's to give yourself permission to do that. Lovely advice. How important is it right now to have an online platform?
Oh my gosh, especially now, everything's virtual. But think about it. Whenever you are about to buy something, whether it's a product or a service, you're looking online to see what other people are saying about it or the program or the product. You are looking to see if you trust that you will actually receive the product or get what the results are that this program is offering. So having that online platform is there for visibility, but it's also there for trust to help people make a decision. So if they look online and they see an outdated profiles or hardly any information or inconsistent branding or lack of content or no recommendations or testimonials, they're going to start to question, I don't know if this person really is going to deliver what they're saying they're going to deliver. It's really important. So it's not even just your clients. If you were trying to publish a book or get hired as a speaker, virtual or in person, or you'd like to be featured in the media, the publishers, the event planners, and the producers or reporters are all going to check you out online and see if you've got the goods. So that online platform is really important to position you as that leader that's going to deliver what you say you can.
What are those goods we need to have, like must-haves? Get these things.
Must-haves. Professional headshot, consistency across platforms, owning that leadership position. So when some people say, well, do I need to have certifications in this and that? Maybe, maybe not. It depends what your audience really values and sees as credible. So I'm sure that everyone has credibility markers that they aren't thinking are credibility markers. Like, for instance, the fact that you've lived through something. You are living proof that your process works. So perhaps you lost 40 pounds in a year. I don't know if that's healthy, but something like that, where you've struggled with weight all your life. And then you've created this new diet and really gave you results. Well, you're not just saying it. You've actually lived it. You've lived with the suffering of not being able to lose weight. So that experience is credibility, right? Or perhaps you're known for always being able to make commitments and fulfill commitments. That's a credibility marker. So it's not just about certifications and awards, although those need to be claimed for sure.
Yes.
So when you look at people's titles, their bio sentence, owning the great things that you've done. If you have clients outside your country, call yourself an international whatever. If you're really good at what you do, know your stuff inside and out, be that expert. Use those powerful words that position you as that leader. And I'm not saying be untrue, but find those things that you're really bringing to the table. Perhaps you've won an award. So you're an award winning. If you've been featured by the media, share it. It should be on your homepage, the icons of the media locations, the media outlets that you've been featured in. And you can share that, like tell the world, but do it in a way that's helpful.
Lovely.
Because it's about serving other people. So if you're positioned as that leader, it's more likely that you'll be able to serve more people. And if you help more people, then they can help more people based on what they've learned from you.
Fabulous. Some nice tips that maybe people don't necessarily think of. And the headshot. So must it be professional? Is it head, shoulder, not full body? What's best?
I think professional for sure. Depends how good your own photography skills are, I guess. But definitely don't crop it from a wedding or a vacation. Headshots are an investment that it's not that expensive, and you get such a long life out of it, and it goes across all platforms. So all your social platforms and your website, even in your email signature, perhaps you can have that headshot.
Perfect. Say your network is your net worth. Okay. What are the secrets to building a network in the digital world? Say someone's completely new to this and they have a lot of contacts in their WhatsApp, maybe, or in their old phone book. How do you start building this online? Are there some tips that you share with your clients when they're starting out online?
Well, right now, LinkedIn is a pretty hot social network for making connections and for positioning yourself as a leader. There are some people on there who are abusing it and sending spam messages as soon as you connect, but disregard those people. The first thing I do when I meet people in a digital meeting, I'm on two screens. So I'm on camera in a meeting with a group, and on the other laptop, I'm on LinkedIn searching each person's name and sending them a note. Hey, I'm on this such and such meeting with you. Let's connect here too. So that you're capturing them on LinkedIn. So then they start to see your content and get to know you better, and also can connect you with other people, or you can do the same for them. Yeah. So it's always a knit right away, right to LinkedIn. And that's where you can send an email to do a little note, but also make the connection. So it's captured, it's not lost. Because you're not going to remember who you were in that meeting with, right? So whether you're speaking at a meeting, just watching a meeting, that's one way to do it for sure. And then you're in Facebook groups, move those people from there to other platforms as well. Send invitations to connect.
And it does seem that whilst Facebook is incredible, LinkedIn, there's some, like you're saying right now, it's quite a hot resource. If you're serious, really serious in terms of connecting, it's an amazing. I find when I connect with people on LinkedIn, they're serious quicker than if I do the connection via Facebook. So there seems to be a different perspective on LinkedIn.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's a different culture for sure. LinkedIn is more business. But then there's you can also jump into conversations of people who are big leaders in your industry. So I'm always jumping on Gary Vaynerchuk's feed. So he'll post something, and if it's relevant to something that I care about or is important to one of my clients, I'll make a comment. So if he's talking about storytelling, I'm going to tag my brand storytelling client and my copywriter client and say, hey, I bet you guys have some perspective to add to this conversation. So it pulls my clients in. But if it's something about something I teach, then I'll make a comment, share my expertise, position myself as a leader in there, and start talking to the other people that are on the feed. And it's turned into phone calls. It's turned into direct message conversations. People join my email list because of helping them on this feed or by sharing my expertise.
And there it is again, in it. You've got to be in it.
In it. Oh, yeah.
Engaging.
Right. So it's always about servicing your clients, but also servicing whomever you can. His market is my market. So that's why I'm on his, but everyone probably has that other person that's leading the industry that they can jump into the conversation. It's about being that leader for sure.
Great. Tell us about having a ripple effect on the world.
Oh, isn't that what it's all about? Connecting just being really clear on why you do what you do. What is the main that big reason for doing what you do, not just to pay the bills, but what is that underlying reason? So mine is giving women a voice in the world and helping them share their potential and talents. And when you are clear on that, and then you connect all of your decisions and your actions and your offers with your big why, powerful things happen. And it's not about thinking about just the impact you have on your clients. It's about thinking about how that result impacts their world on a greater scale. So I wrote about this in my Entrepreneur magazine article. I used two of my clients as examples about how their work wasn't just helping their clients, but it was taking it to the community, societal, cultural, global level. Because then you're leaving the product and service level and moving to legacy, impact making, thought leader level. It's just thinking that way. Just how can it not fill you up and inspire you to do your work?
It's beautiful. Just the way you even, the energy as you're speaking, you can feel it. It sort of takes you onto a different frequency when you start speaking about that, which is actually, you gave me goosebumps because like you say, well, what else is there? If it's not that, what else, what bigger difference can we make than having a ripple effect beyond, I like what you're saying, beyond our clients, because they have families and communities, and lovely. And is that what you've added? Is that the message you're bringing through now in your programs, beyond just visibility and, gaining clients and attraction, etc.? You're bringing in that substance?
We absolutely do. Actually, in the first week of the Above the Crowd Intensive, we start talking about the impact on your clients. Who are you serving? What results are you getting? But what's the ripple effect? And initially, they don't know until we help guide them and dig deeper, and it becomes really powerful when they see what their work is really doing in the world. But I've always loved that piece, that going back to finding the potential and then seeing what's possible. So even back in my corporate days, they would throw me into a department to lead the staff. And these people had been on these staff for years and years doing entry-level work, same job every day. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more you can do. And of course, there was resistance to change, but I persevered and I taught them new things, and they would be so proud. Here I was 25 years old and they were probably twice my age. And they were so proud about learning how to write a journal entry or learn new software, something outside of their normal comfort zone. They would literally wear gold star sticker on their hand. I would put on their hand and they'd wear it all day. And they were so proud of themselves. It was adorable. And this one woman I worked with, Linda, she was a tough cookie. She would always fight me on when I would try to push her just a little further. No, you need to go have the conversation, or you can write this new report, or whatever it was that I just helped her take a little bit of a leadership role and learn new things. And when I left Nabisco to go to White Rose Food, she wrote me this amazing letter, which I still have, which I hope I don't cry when I talk about it, because it's amazing. She said that no one had seen the potential in her. She hadn't seen any potential in her. She thought she was at her limit, and I was a shot in her tired old arm. And she just thanked me. And she was like so difficult to work with, but she was like my flower that I got out of the dry ground. I love that stuff.
That is just, and like you say, that's what life is. That's the humanity, bringing humanity back to business is what the mission of the show is. And that you live that, JB, you totally live that. And, to make it real, for anyone listening, in terms of what this ripple effect really is, because it's so much, you go so beyond profit here. It's yes, the money value comes through, but there's just so much more. What has having a ripple effect through your work, how has that impacted you? How has that changed your life?
it just brings meaning and purpose to what I do. So I've helped probably over 1,000, mostly women business owners, either start, grow, or expand their businesses. And I still see them thriving today and doing cool things. And I see connections I've made, and they've gotten together and created these incredible projects together. It's just so fulfilling. It's not just a transaction at all for me. I feel like it's an investment in the long term. So even if they're not my client anymore, I see what they're doing now, and I'm just lights me up to see what's been created, that they kept going and blossomed.
That's gorgeous. I imagine if you could do a calculation on the cumulative effect of that. So you saying 1,000 people, but in effect, how many? It could be tens of thousands. It could be beyond that. The true effect that you've had, which is, you can't put a price to that. It's just priceless.
Yeah, part of it is the coaching, but part of it is the connections, just connecting the right people together that's resulted into a talk on a stage that's turned into millions of views, like just because we've connected two people together, or 2, 3, 4 people get together and do a podcast together, or launch a new program. It's incredible. And then of course, you just help somebody build a business, all of their clients that they can help now. So one of my friends' former clients is a therapist, and she helps families, and being able to keep her business going and then grow it to a point where she's able to help more and more people. So think of all the families that she's helped.
Yeah, well, that is the true ripple effect, actually. Sure. Because if you think about every single entrepreneur, it's themselves, whatever staff they have, their families and staff families, the communities they're in. I mean, it's immense. You do a lot of collaboration. So what I want to talk about there is the power of collaboration when you bring because a lot of entrepreneurs work solo. They think they need to do things on their own. What have you found when you bring people to work together?
Well, there's a good article that Lolly Daskell wrote in Inc. magazine about collaboration that gives some great tips. So I would suggest your viewers Google that and find that article on collaboration, on how to work together, especially when you come from diverse backgrounds. Right now, I'm collaborating with Marissa Polselli, she's my lead instructor. So she was a client of mine in my mastermind and various programs, retreat attendee. And now she's my lead instructor for my Above the Crowd intensive, because she knows my program inside and out. And she brings a whole nother level to the program because it's my content, but she's delivering it in her way live. And she comes at it in the beautiful, kind way. So I'm a no nonsense, no excuses, let's go person. I have that heart, which you've heard, but my clients like me because I'm a little tough on them, and they know they need to get something done when next time they have a call with me. But Marissa brings this beautiful way. It's like magic, where one of my clients put it as, she takes your ramblings, ties it up in a bow, and presents it to you in this gorgeous way. Like she can just return it to you in this beautifully written way. And you're like, yes, that's what I meant to say. She's my copywriter as well. So I'll take my ideas and then she'll turn them into this gorgeous prose.
What a blessing to have someone like that work with you. That's just then, I mean, you amplifying the value just by doing that, by having two different people like this.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
So you have a lot of experience with TEDx, and I know a lot of people would love to be a TEDx speaker. how do you get, maybe share with us, how do you get to be a TEDx speaker? What, I know there would be resources online, but from your in-house experience.
Well, starts with an idea worth sharing, as their tagline says, right? So it's not a promotional pitch. It's not a keynote. It's an idea, a new perspective on something. And it's also about, you have to write that out and practice it and practice it and practice it to the point where you're breathing it and you know it inside and out, and it becomes conversational. Practice in front of a live audience, like find some people. I know one of our TEDx speakers practiced in a cab to the cab driver. Another one would stand on the bleachers and speak to whomever was there. Because when you're in front of people, your body just shuts down. You start to sweat or your stomach flips. But before you pick a TEDx location, because this is a big deal and it's a lot of months of prep to come up with your idea, write the talk, practice the talk, and then prepare for the stage. So there's a lot of things to think about. What are we wearing? You do some research to make sure that producers have produced before, that the audio is going to be good, the lighting is going to be good, because not every TEDx is created equal. Because TEDx means independently produced. So TEDx grants a license to organizers, but some will deliver a more professional event than others. So watch the videos of their prior events, talk to their prior speakers, get as much information as you can about whether or not they're going to give you a great experience, because that video that lives on is really important. And if there's bad lighting or bad sound, it's kind of a waste. And you don't want it to just be a one-time thing. You want it to live on, right? And then once you've determined which one you're applying for, then it's the application process. So you may want to get to know the producers. Some of them are more open to it than others, but you can at least follow on social, find out what's important to them. Be sure that you understand what the theme is so that your idea makes sense for the theme that they're going for that year. So there's lots of moving parts to it.
Yeah, sure. Great tips. Thank you. And really nice that you can actually almost select which one you want to go for and then go for that. Because a lot of people might just stay with the TEDx within their city, which may not be the best produced one, like you say. So
so go with what's going to be the best production value, but then also think about the credibility factor. So if you have, TEDx middle of nowhere versus TEDx big city, you might want to choose the latter.
Exactly. You are constantly pushing yourself. I mean, just when you look at your career, going from sort of being in hiding to parties, to accounts, to networking, to retreats, constantly pushing yourself. What is your secret to you staying in your A game?
Yeah, I push myself because I like to challenge and see what's possible. That's the fun of it. But my A game, I would say, let's see, there's lots of things. Morning routine. I don't get up early. First of all, I don't use an alarm clock. I get up when my body is done sleeping, first of all. Hydration, exercise, always happening in the morning. And then I reward myself with the coffee. But it's also, I find what's key is to make sure I reserve time every day for the important things that are going to move the needle. I also make sure that I have a lot of white space on my calendar so that I'm not running frantically. I don't do chaos and frantic. I always have space between calls, space between meetings, because you need to be able to pause, assess, learn, plan, and then go full into that next commitment. So I'm working with you right now on this podcast, and then I will have 2 hours hour and 45 minutes to prepare for the mastermind meeting that I'm leading. There was no way I would hang up with this and jump into that, because you would be ending this podcast thinking about the mastermind, or entering the podcast like a bat out of hell. Like, what are we doing today? You need to get regrounded and focused.
I love your white space. You know, I mean, I coach so many executives, and what I see is exactly what you've just expanded. You know, there's bat out of hell constantly. And they're constantly late for the next meeting. And it's you know, there's catching their tail, and they are waking up with that alarm, and it starts off like just chasing, which speaks right to you helping entrepreneurs to reduce the overwhelm, which then talks to, obviously, you know exactly what matters, what you're aiming for. You know, it kind of goes back into answering all those important questions.
I think it's important to look honestly at where you've been spending your time. I get a lot of resistance from this, but once my clients do it, they're like, wow, that was eye-opening. But I have them track their time for a week. Mm-hmm. And then it's a matter of, I have a system to get more productive. So the first step is eliminate. Mm-hmm. What can you eliminate off of your calendar, off of your plate, that doesn't really matter, that somebody else thinks is important, that you feel guilted into, or you've always done, but it's not helping you get to the goal that you're working on right now? And then it's about delegation. So what can you delegate, whether it's in your house to your family, or to an outside assistant, or to somebody on your team? So what can you delegate? Then looking at everything, what can you automate? So if you're doing anything more than once, it's probably a process is needed, and you can automate it, at least part of it. So there's less man hours and energy and brain work. And then there's what can you systematize? So if you're writing that same email to interested clients over and over again, you can, if you don't automate that, you could at least have a template and systematize it. So everyone that does A gets B, and then anyone that does C gets D. It's just the system. So you're not reinventing the wheel over and over again. A lot of entrepreneurs are just winging it. Well, how do I respond to this in the moment? But if you have things that are systematized or automated, you know exactly how to respond.
Amazing tips. Amazing.
I think if you don't take time to do those things, you have too much on your plate. You may not be doing things that are leading to your vision, or you may not even have a target. You may just kind of be busy, but not really getting anywhere. But also you may be missing opportunities. One of my clients missed a 5-figure opportunity as a speaker because she was too busy in the day-to-day thick of it to see, read, and respond to an email invitation. It was a guaranteed job. Wow. Because I gave this person her name. She never responded. She lost the spot.
That's who.
And we got that article in Inc. magazine about collaboration because I had white space in my calendar. So I wasn't just scanning my emails as I'm rushing to the next thing. I sit down and do read and respond to emails at a set time. And this one email was from Lolly Daskell saying she was attending our TEDx. And instead of just marking her as attending, I wrote back to her, and then she responded and said, would you like to be featured in Inc. magazine? I said, heck yes. What do we need to do? She said, if you can be on the phone, on camera in 45 minutes with a list of pitch ideas, we can make it happen. So it was set up the Zoom, find my partner, come up with pitch ideas, and get on camera in 45 minutes. But if I had been too busy racing around, we never would have gotten the article in Inc. magazine.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And this is how we get to have our ripple effect, is doing what matters. And that white space is really crucial. I love the idea that you don't have an alarm clock. Wow. That's like... So clearly then your morning is planned around that. So if your body tells you you're only waking up at 10 a.m. today, how do you manage that? How do you factor that?
Well, it's not usually 10, but some days it's 5:30, other days it could be 8, but
Okay.
I don't plan anything earlier than that.
Okay.
So I'm not sleeping through anything.
Like a buffer that you give yourself.
Exactly. You need a buffer. Well, with that barn load of animals and kids, you never know what's going to happen in the middle of the night. Last night, actually, my cat woke me up at 2:30, and then my daughter woke me up at 6 a.m. So, yeah.
So you needed a buffer built in.
You need a buffer.
Yeah, wonderful.
If I'm tired, I won't do my best work. So what's the point of forcing my body out of its sleep?
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. What do you think, Jamie, is key to overcoming the myriad barriers we're experiencing right now? I mean, it's not even just entrepreneurs. It's the whole world's got a barrage of barriers that they're experiencing. Is it potentially this white space? What do you think it's going to take for us to just pause, get through, turning the barriers into success breakthroughs? What comes to mind as really important? And let's maybe focus on the entrepreneur. What's so important for them to do?
I think it's taking that time to decide where you want to go and reverse engineering it. Because if you don't create that roadmap for yourself, you're just going through the motions. So twice a year in my mastermind, we do strategic planning to make sure that we are not only headed where we want to go, but we're offering things that our audience actually will buy. Because not only may your vision change, but your client's needs may change. But if you don't pause, you may be offering something that is no longer wanted. So, Blockbuster didn't pivot. Now they're out of business. Kodak didn't pivot, out of business.
Yeah.
So those are bigger companies, of course, but it's important to always do customer analysis and research and keep your finger on what people are really struggling with now so that your offers line up. So ideally, you want to offer something that you are really great at. What are your unique strengths that the client really wants? So if their wants and needs shift and you're still messaging on that old wants and needs, it's not going to resonate. You'll be like, well, what happened? So it's really important to pause, look at the big picture, the client, your company, your team, your resources, your industry, do SWOT analysis, the strengths and weaknesses inside, the opportunities and threats outside. What are the trends happening in your industry and in the world? So, there's some companies that are benefiting from this pandemic, and others, a lot, are struggling and shutting their doors. But there are companies that it is an opportunity for them. You know how to make masks. You're doing great right now, right? So.
Great. What excites you about the future?
Oh, I love the unknown. It's just possibility. You have to look at it as fun and possibility and potential, because otherwise it's scary and dark. And I like the more positive approach to it all. And I kind of feel like we have some control over that because we can create something based on all of that strategic planning that we've done in research. What can we create? It's fun. You get to be creative no matter what business you're in.
Again, it comes back to that, giving yourself the time to pause and have that space.
And to be confident. It goes back to confidence. Without confidence, there's no creativity.
Absolutely. Jamie, if you could share a message with the whole world right now, what would you love to tell us humans?
I would love for everyone to think about how they can share their gifts and create a positive impact, and to think beyond themselves and to think of everyone they can affect in the world. and choose a positive ripple effect rather than a negative, selfish, destructive one.
Beautiful. Thank you. That got me here. Thank you. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
If anyone would like to get in touch or send a message, you can find me at jamiebroderick.com.
Perfect. And I will have your links in the show notes as well. And I'll get some other info from you too. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing, for having a ripple effect by sharing your energy and your wisdom with us. And thank you for going from being in hiding to just letting it out and allowing your own voice to shine through so you can help so many other voices. That's the work that you're doing is beautiful. And thank you for that. And everything that this show stands for is what you are already doing. You're bringing that humanity. You're helping people collaborate. You're helping people co-create. You're helping people celebrate who they are. So thank you for bringing humanity back into business and shining your bright light and having that ripple effect. And I am sure so many more people are going to heed to the idea of pausing and not having an alarm clock, that we can challenge ourselves to do that. So thank you so much, and best wishes as you take your business forward. As Jamie has so beautifully put out to us and shared with us her wisdom, it is so absolutely possible to pivot and to build the confidence, to believe in ourselves. And if we're not doing that, we're robbing the world of the impact that we can have.